Let me present to you now my screen. Somebody just joined. Alright, let me share to you my screen and please tell me if you already have seen the screen. Alright, mga humabol for mga late na 1 minute. Anyway, alright. I hope that it's streaming now. Streaming naman. Yan. Let me just prepare to you the one. Later na lang ito. Alright, so we get to I hope that you get to see the screen right now. I'd like to hear your feedback about my voice. If there is a buzzing soundbar, wala. Kasi minsan merong static sound kasi.
Sir, wala.
Wala, alright. So, I hope that you get to see the screen right now. It's already lesson 9. Some others are still joining. However, sige, we'll be starting right away. Your lesson 9 is actually already a part of the last part of your second quarter. Your second quarter is just so small in terms of the topic kasi malalaman mo siya agad. For your second quarter, we started with your earthquake. Then we started also with your typhoon. And last part of your second quarter is your minor members of the solar system. Now, why minor members? Because we're not going to talk about the solar system. Yung mga maliliit na mga members niya lang. No? So, specifically, when we talk about your minor numbers, we call this one your mga asteroids, comets, and meteors. Now, can you distinguish the difference between the three? Etong first na picture, anong tingin nyo ito? Ano ba to? Asteroid, comet, or meteor?
Asteroid, sir.
Alright, that would be an asteroid, correct. Etong nasa third picture, ano naman tawag nito natin dyan?
Meteor?
Is it a meteor or is it a comet?
Comet.
Alright.
Comet?
So, merong divided yung answer ng mga nandyan, no? Merong nagsasabi na comet, merong nagsasabi na meteor. But the answers for this, kasi pahapyaw ko lang to na ituturo, the first picture is actually your asteroid, which is your correct. Correct yung sinabi. Asteroid, para lang silang mga bato na naka-float sa outer space. Ito sila, mga asteroid. But there is medyo nahihirapan yung mga estudyante kung paano magkakaiba yung comets and meteors. But the second picture shows you a comet and the last picture shows a meteor. Alright, meteor po ang ito. So, tama yung nandito sa picture asteroids. Ito, comet ito, at meteor yan. Pero kasi minsan din, sa meteor, meron pa siyang subdivision. Meron tayong sinasabi na meteor, meteoroid, at meteorite. So, paano din sila magkakaiba-iba? So, yon, no? So, we call them your NearEarth Objects. NEO. NEO. NearEarth Objects. Kasi usually, lumalapit sila sa Earth. Do yung iba, galing sa malalayo, pero umaabot sila, lumalapit sila sa Earth. Alright? So, that's the reason why we call them your NearEarth Objects. Alright, so, again, another picture. You get to see this is a asteroid nasa left, meteor, and comets. Do you see them clearly in your screens?
Yes, sir.
Alright, very
Yes,
good,
sir.
no? So, especially for those who are using their laptops, eto medyo makita nyo to. Pero for the others who are using their smartphones, my smartphone is already kita naman. Alright, so let's continue. Yung mga asteroid natin, sabi ko nga, bato lang sila. That's the reason why it mentions here, when you talk about your asteroid, the keyword would be rocks or fragments of rocks. Ang sabi dito, irregularly shaped. Kasi hindi mo alam kung anong shape ng ito na asteroid. Hindi mo alam kung anong shape ng ito na asteroid sa first picture naman. So, usually, they are irregular in shape. Hindi mo alam kung square, oval, oblong, circular, round, or ganun. At some point, yung mga asteroids natin, tinatawag natin silang microplanets. So, nakikita nyo dito sa screen nyo, can you see? the 4 largest asteroids. Can somebody please tell to me, no, ano yung 4 largest asteroid na nakikita niyo sa screen niyo?
Sir, the 4 largest asteroids are Ceres, Vesta, Pallas, or Hygiea.
Alright, very good, no? Correct din yung pronunciation. We have your Ceres, your Vesta, your Pallas, and your Hygiea. Right, very good. Thank you very much for responding, no? Sabi kasi dito sa asteroids, these are irregularly shaped. To be honest with you, trivia lang ito about asteroid. Dati, etong si Ceres, nakikita niyo si Ceres, makikita, how do you describe the shape of Ceres? How do you describe the shape? Anong tingin niyo sa shape ni Ceres?
Circle.
Circle, no? Or parang round. Halos perfect circles siya. So just a trivia to add to you about asteroids, especially for Ceres. Dati yung mga scientists, yung mga astronomers natin, nagkamali sila. Kasi akala nila, nung nakita nila si Ceres for the first time, they thought Ceres was a planet. Kasi nga, very circular siya. Very, very round yung pagka-shape niya being as an asteroid. Pero they get to see that it doesn't meet the standards of being a planet si Ceres, no? Kasi una, bato lang siya. Second, wala siya yung parang own na moon niya. So yun yung mga bagay kaya sinabi nila that Ceres is considered a microplanet, right? So iba yung microplanet, iba naman yung dwarf planet, ha, hindi sila magkaparehas. Alright? So, you have your microplanet. Kaya dito, just a trivia, nagkamali dati yung mga scientists about Ceres because they thought that Ceres was a planet. However, it's just a very round asteroid. Alright? So, ito yung asteroid natin. So, yung asteroid natin manggagaling sa dalawang mga, especially, yung asteroid natin nanggagaling sa ibang mga parts, no? Pero sa solar system natin, yung asteroid natin nanggaling talaga sa sinasabi nating asteroid belt. Do you still remember when you have studied this one in your grade 7 that there is an asteroid belt? Was it mentioned before? Kay asteroid belt? Na-mention ba ito dati sa inyo? Alright. This asteroid belt is actually found in between what planets? Anong mga planets siya nakita? Si asteroid.
Jupiter and Mars.
Alright, very good, no? It's found in between Jupiter and Mars. Ganito naman yung storya nito sa asteroid belt, ano? May storya kasi ito. Itong asteroid belt, nakikita nyo maraming bato dyan. Nung earlier times daw, when the solar system was still forming, no? Nagfo-form pa lang yung solar system natin. Itong mga bato na ito, gusto nilang maging mabuong planet. Kasi syempre, pag may gravity, lahat ng mga batong yan, magkukumpul-kumpul yan at maging isang malaking planet. Pero problema, itong asteroid belt na ito, ang daming bato na naka-float lang dyan sa asteroid belt na yan, pero hindi sila natuloy na naging isang buong planet. It was a failed formation of a planet. Kaya nangyari, puro bato na lang dyan sa belt na yan. It's supposed to become a planet but it failed. Why do you think so? Bakit kaya? Sino kayang may kasalanan kung bakit hindi nabuo si asteroid belt na naging planet? Any idea? You have any idea of how or why did the asteroid belt fail to become a planet? Get to see that some others are actually So, sana merong mga magsasalita galing sa mga lalaki naman.
Because of gravity?
Alright, yes, tama yon. Because of gravity. Pero ang tanong ko, kaninong gravity? Very good. Kaninong gravity? Who owns that gravity of why asteroid belt failed to become a planet? Kaninong gravity? Bakit hindi siya nabuo? Just a guess. Just try.
Sir, Sun?
Sa Sun? Hindi. Kasi malayo masyado si Sun, no? Para guyurin niya yung mga batong yan at hindi maging mabuong planet. Kanino kaya?
Sir Jupiter.
Alright, very good. Kay Jupiter. Dahil kay Jupiter, kasi 'di ba si Jupiter is being considered as the largest planet of the solar system, meaning malakas din yung gravity ni Jupiter. At that time when these rocks here in the asteroid belt was trying to form and become a planet, si Jupiter naman kasi masyadong malakas yung gravity niya, binubuwag niya yung mga batong yan, kaya hindi siya nabuo. And ending, there are just floating rocks around that orbit, which is now what you call your asteroid belt. Alright? So, nagets niyo yung storya niya kung bakit hindi siya nabuo.
Yes, sir.
Alright? So, merong kasalanan ni Jupiter yan. Alright? Si Jupiter ang may kasalanan dyan. Alright? Let's proceed. So, meron tayong mga different types of your asteroid. C-type, S-type, M-type. I will not discuss this one much kasi mas... mag-proceed tayo agad sa third quarter kasi kukunti na lang yung time natin. We'll be spending so much time with your third quarter because we're trying to or going to try to at least master how to use your periodic tables. Alright, before I get to proceed, do you have your periodic tables with you sa learning pack nyo?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Alright, just keep them because by next week, ito yung gagamitin natin at try natin na paano siya gamitin. Right? So we have your C-type, S-type, your M-type in terms of the composition of the asteroid. They are made up of carbon, so C-type. Pag S-type naman, they are made up of silicon or silicates. Pag M-type naman, sila yung mga metallic. So they contain iron and nickel. So yun, no? Pwede lang magamit yan for making metals. Yung pag merong mga mahulog na asteroid. Alright. So, yung mga asteroid din, pwede nating maklasify at in terms of location. So, hindi ko na masyadong i-discuss masyado ito, no? Kasi wala namang activity that is related to this topic. Wala kayo namang ipapas dito. But all I want you to know is the differences between your asteroids and your meteors and your comets. Alright? So, basta, ang asteroid lang, ito lang yung mga bato na nagpa-float sa outer space. Alright? Asteroid sila. Tawag niyan. So, let's go now with your comets. Nakikita nyo ba yung picture, yung screen ngayon ng comet?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Kung si asteroid ay bato, si comet naman ice. Ice siya. It's made up of ice. Yellow. Kasi si comet nanggaling sa malayong lugar na malayo kay sun. Pag malayo kay sun, meaning malamig doon. Pag malamig doon, therefore pwedeng mamuo ang ice. So, your comet is actually an icy body. Pero dahil itong comet na ito dumadaan minsan sa Earth and it goes near the sun, therefore the ice melts. Nagme-melt si ice, kaya nagmumukha siyang ganito. No? Meron siyang ulo, meron siyang buntot, maganda yung kulay niya. Those are your comets. Alright? So, anyway, before I get to proceed, do you know of any comets that you have learned before? Or do you know a name of comets before? May kilala ba kayong mga... Yes.
Halley's Comet.
Alright, the most common comet is your Halley's Comet. Pero marami pa tayong mga ibang mga comet na ipangalan sa mga taong nag-discover dyan. So, let's get to talk more about Halley's Comet later on. But first, let's get to know the classification of your comet. Yung comet kasi nanggaling yan sa mga different parts of the outer solar system na hindi na parte ng solar system natin. Malayo na siya. Alright? So, meron tayong classification 1. We have your short period comets. Meron naman tayong mga long period comets. Masasabi nating short period comet siya pag every 200 years, bumabalik siya. So just imagine 200 years, no? Pag may dumaan ngayon na isang comet at yung comet na yan babalik after 200 years, hindi mo na yan maaabutan. Alright? But for the long period comets, umaabot sila ng hundreds or thousands of years for them to be able to come back. Kaya nga long period kasi long time din silang ulit na makikita. So thousands and hundreds and thousands. Etong ka-short period, umaabot lang ng 200, no? To complete a single orbit or magpapakita ulit. Alright, so your short period comet came from this belt. Any idea of how do you pronounce this word here? You have here the second bullet here. Saan galing si short period comet? Anybody like to read and pronounce this word? Try. How do you pronounce this word here? Start with letter K. Kung makikita nyo yung cursor ko, ito yung nakikita nyo.
Kuiper belt.
Alright, you have your Kuiper belt daw. Alright, this is pronounced as your Kuiper belt. Kuiper belt. Alright, so medyo tricky yung pag-pronounce niya, but this is pronounced as your Kuiper belt. Alright, so short period comets are coming from your Kuiper belt. Ito namang si long period comet came from your Oort cloud. So alam natin na since itong si short period 200 years bumabalik, si Oort cloud thousands of years bumabalik, mas malayo si Oort cloud. So saan ba sila banda sa planeta? Nandito po yung picture kung saan sila banda. Alright, just imagine, no? Kung saan kalayo si Kuiper belt. Si Kuiper belt is more or less nasa beyond Neptune near Pluto. Yan, beyond Neptune near Pluto. Magkakalapit sila sa Pluto, si Kuiper belt. Pero si Oort cloud, makikita nyo, ang layo niya na masyado from the solar system. Ito yung isang buong circular part ng Oort cloud. This is around 5,000 to 100,000 astronomical units. Ito yung ginagamit natin as distance when you talk about the distance in the solar system or in the outer space. Astronomical unit yung gamit natin, hindi kilometers. Alright, so ganun siya kalayo. So yun nga, tapos wrong spelling pa si Kuiper belt. No, nauna si T kaysa kay L. So ito yung picture niyan. Alright, so yung na-mention ni sino yung nagsagot kanina, yes, no, Halley's comet is one of the considered as your short period comet. Kasi si Halley, sabi sa ibang mga books, bumabalik ng 75 years. Meron ding sabi sa mga ibang books, bumabalik siya 76 years. Pero itong mga comets na ito, nagbabalik-balik ito sila. So, last appearance po ni Halley's comet was in 1986. I wasn't born yet by that time. So, the projected return niya, 2061. Maabutan nyo pa ba ito? By your age right now, maabutan nyo pa ba ito?
No, sir.
It's 2020 right now. So, 2020 siya. 2021 ano? So, 2021 minus 2061. Ilang years yun?
40.
40 years. O, ilan yung taon nyo ngayon?
14, sir.
14. So, 40 plus 14, nasa around 54 years old na kayo. Buhay pa ba kayo that time? Siguro
Depende,
buhay
sir.
pa. Buhay pa. 54. Bata pa yan. No? So, just imagine when you reach 54 years old and you get to remember this lesson that Halley's comet will be coming back by that year. So, if you have the chance to be able to witness the passing of Halley's comet, then try to witness it. At least parang meron kayong paglaglagipan, no, na ay naalala namin ito nung grade 8 na pinag-aralan namin itong si Halley's comet na bumabalik every after 75 to 76 years. So prepare 2061. Ako baka wala na ako dito by that 2061. So kayo, no? Try niyo maabutan niyo pa 54 years old kayo nito. All right? So dito si Halley's. Pero meron din tayong tinatawag na long period comet. Example nito is si Hale-Bopp comet or comet Hale-Bopp. No? So, last nag-appear ito 1997. Buhay na ba kayo sa 1997? Alam ko 2008 ba kayo? You were born in 2008, 2006.
2007.
2007.
2005.
2005 yung iba. So, yun, no? Pero 1997 wala pa pala kayo. So, baka magjowa pa si parents nyo ng time. So, last siya nag-appear 1997. Pero ang balik nito, 2,500 years pa. Wala sa atin ang makakaabot na magpapakita ulit si Hale-Bopp or si Comet Hale-Bopp. Because, long period nga, matagal siyang bumabalik. Pero, have you seen a very something special about comets? Nakikita nyo yung kulay ni comets, no? Ang ganda ng kulay ni comets.
Yes, sir.
Especially this one, you get to see a distinguished different colors. On top of this one, yung isang buntot niya, at isang buntot niya dito sa baba. No, mapansin nyo? Nakikita nyo ba sa kulay ng screen nyo?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Alright,
sir.
so this is how unique your comets are. However, no, yung si comet kasi, yung mga comets kasi natin, merong mga parts yan. Kaya nga ganun yung kulay niya. So, yung nandito, yung nucleus, no, yung medyo icy part. Tapos ito, dito ang banda, coma ang tawag diyan. Yung puting part, tawag natin diyan dust tail. Yung blue part, ang tawag natin diyan ion tail. Kaya kung makikita nyo dito, si Comet Hale-Bopp, makikita nyo ba yung different colors niya? May blue dito at may white dyan. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so what's the color of the dust tail? Anong kulay ni dust tail?
White,
White. Alright, tapos anong kulay ni ion tail?
blue.
Blue. So yun, no? So those are different parts of your comets. Alright, so merong isang fun fact, sabi dito ni Chris Aquino. No, fun fact. Did you know that scientists hypothesize or nagsususpect sila na ang mga comets ang nagdala ng tubig sa Earth? Is it possible? Ang mga comets daw ang nagdala ng tubig sa Earth.
Sir, maybe.
Maybe, alright? So, pwede, no? Kasi, when you talk about your comets, they are made up of ice. No? They are made up of ice. Tapos, when those icy comets before struck the Earth or landed onto the Earth, yung mga ice na yan, nagmelt, kaya ayan, naging mga, naging mga, tawag nito, ocean, body of water, yung ocean natin, yung mga seas natin, yan daw yung, mga comets daw ang may pakana dyan, no? Nagmelt na ng mga ice. Alright, so let's proceed to your meteors. Alright, so you have your meteors. These are actually also rocks, pero hindi sila masyadong, these are the ones that are actually mga maliliit kesa sa asteroid. Alright, so ito yung mga meteoroids. Nakakita na ba kayo ng parang ganito? Ano tawag natin sa ganito? Marami sila.
Meteorites.
Meteorites, alright? These are meteoroids. When you get to see something like this one, this is what you call your meteor shower.
Ay, okay, yes, sir.
Narinig niyo ba yung word na meteor shower? Na minsan pag tumambay lang kayo sa gabi, maraming mga parang streaks of light na dumaan. For 1 second, 2 seconds, maraming streaks of light na dumaan. That is what you call your meteor shower. Alright? So, paano ba tayo how do we differentiate this different stuff? Meteoroids, meteors, and meteorites. Alright, ganito. Ang meteoroids, nakikita siya sa outer space. Meteoroids ang tawag natin dyan. Pero pag pumasok na sila sa atmosphere ng Earth, ang tawag natin dyan, meteors. Kaya usually nakikita natin ang mga meteor shower kasi nga malapit na sila sa atmosphere ng Earth. So pag ang meteors are these meteoroids are found outside in the outer space, ang meteors nasa atmosphere na ng Earth. Ngayon, ang tanong, sir, pwede bang pumasok totally yung mga meteoroids na yan na pumasok sa Earth? Yes, pwede. Pero at some point, dahil mainit masyado yung atmosphere natin, they get to melt, no? They get to disintegrate. Kaya minsan, nalalaglag sila as only dust. Para na lang pulbos or dust, yung mga alikabok na lang silang nanggagaling sa sky. Pero minsan, malalaki sila masyado that they get to survive and land on the Earth. When a meteoroid is able to land on Earth, ang tawag natin dyan, meteorite. Nakakita na ba kayo ng meteorite? Alam niyo yung storya ni Koke?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Di ba si
sir.
Koke yung nalaglag daw na bulalakaw? Nalaglag daw
Yes,
yung
sir.
bulalakaw tapos nandun si Koke. So, when a meteor is able to land on the ground, we call that one now your meteorite. I think I have a picture of example of a meteorite. So, eto. Ang example natin, no? Pag nasa outer space siya, meteoroid. Pag pumasok na sa atmosphere, ang tawag natin dyan, meteor. Pag nagland sa Earth, ang tawag natin dyan, meteorite. Alright? So, ganun yung differences nila. Nakuha nyo ba? Nagets nyo ba yung differences?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so yun yung differences nila. So, alam nyo ba, or another fun fact, no? Yung mga meteoroids natin, nanggaling sila sa buntot ng comets. Kasi whenever a comet passes by, 'di ba, meron siyang dust tail na natatang yung tail niya. Maraming mga bato diyan or ice diyan na nahuhulog or natatanggal from the head itself, yung coma. Pag natanggal 'yon, no, nagiging meteoroid daw sila, no. This is what they believe to have, where nanggagaling yung mga meteor showers natin. Pag merong dumadaan na comet, expect also that there will be a meteor shower. So, yun lang po yung differences nila. Alright, so I think yun lang po yung sa second grading natin, and congratulations once again, tapos na po tayo sa second grading natin. Questions? Alright, so if you can still remember, just to give you a summary of everything of your second quarter, you have your earthquake, your typhoons, and these three different stuff, your asteroids, your meteors, and your comets. Right? Questions before I get to proceed to third quarter?
None, sir.
So, kwan lang, no? Yung iba pala, sorry, no? Merong mga nagtatanong sa akin, Sir, nasabi kasi doon sa instruction at cartolina yung paggagawa ng infographics. Now, I believe that cartolina is really very big for you to work on too. Kaya yung iba, Sir, pwede bang long size bond paper na lang? Yes, pwede. Kung hindi pa kayo nakakapagawa, you can do that one on a long size bond paper na lang para swak siya pag pinicturean nyo at sinend nyo, or sakto lang siya sa envelope, pag ilalagay nyo yan, ipapas nyo as hard copy sa school. Kasi yung iba daw, Sir, wala kasi sa part sa learning pack yung cartolina, kaya GCQ pa tayo ngayon, hindi sila basta-basta makabili at pumunta sa labas na bumili ng cartolina. So if you have like spare of bond papers with you at home, you can do that one on a long size bond paper na lang para hindi siya ganun ka-hassle. Alright, so sa mga hindi pa gumawa, okay na. So yung gumawa naman sa cartolina, pag nagawa nyo na, okay na yun. Hindi nyo na kailangan gumawa pa ulit. Just pass the cartolina or just take a photo of the cartolina. Alright? Do you understand? Gets ba?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so yun. So,
Yes, sir.
yung iba, medyo nahihirapan din sa kumusta yung plotting of the typhoon and the Philippine Area of Responsibility. Did you understand yung explanation kong hinabol kong video? Kaya gumawa ako ng video doon for you to be able to plot the points. Nagets nyo ba? Yung mga yun.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so kung yung mga iba hindi
Yes,
hindi
sir.
pa nag-point. Alright, so saan ba dumaan yung typhoon na yun? If you can still remember, if you are one of those who are done with that one. Saan dumaan yung typhoon na yun? Which part of the map? Is it in Mindanao, in Visayas, or in Manila? Yung typhoon na yun. Saan dumaan? When you were tracking that points.
Mindanao.
Yes, where? Where do
Sir,
you...
Mindanao.
Alright, Mindanao. Sa Mindanao actually dumaan yun. Kaya that time, when that typhoon happened, Cagayan de Oro ang natamaan doon. So, bihirang dumadaan si typhoon sa Mindanao, no? If you can still remember, sabi ko nga, meron tayong mga pinapangalan na mga typhoons ngayon. But, lately, ano yung typhoon na malapit sa atin ngayon? What's the name of that typhoon? Na sinabi ko that time. Still remember? Anong pangalan ng typhoon ngayon na malapit sa atin? That's the reason why medyo makulimlim paghapon. Oh, do you watch the news of kumusta yung panahon natin ngayon? So remember, what's the name of the typhoon that we have right now that is already inside the Philippine Area of Responsibility? Anybody? Ano yung typhoon natin ngayon?
Sir, Typhoon Bising?
Alright, Typhoon Bising. Alright, so the local name for Typhoon Bising is Bising, no? So Typhoon Bising ang tawag sa Pilipinas. Ano naman yung international name niya? Oh, sabi ko nga, meron international name yan. Just like your Typhoon Yolanda, yan yung local name natin. But for international name, we call that one your Hurricane Haiyan. So ano naman yung international name ni Typhoon Bising na nasa Pilipinas ngayon? Any idea? Alam nyo ba yung pangalan nun? That's the reason why sa science I always be updated of what is happening, weather, anong mga bagong mga updates sa sciences. So at least aside from your Wattpads in modules, you get to also learn what's happening lately. Alright, so merong nag-answer dito si Mr. Jeremiah. Sinabi niya Surigay. Alright, tama yun, Surigay. That's the international name of Typhoon Bising, Surigay. Kasi kinuha siya kasi masyadong natamaan si Surigao. Dadaan daw kay Surigao, kaya Surigay yung pingalan nila. Suri tapos GAE. So Surigay. Nasa group chat niya in-answer, Surigay. Alright, thank you very much. Tama yung answer na yun. Let's now proceed to your third quarter. Alright, so recap tayo. Yung first quarter nyo, puro physics yun. Yung second quarter nyo, earth science. Typhoon, earthquake, at saka yung meron tayong konting astronomy, no? Sa third quarter nyo, chemistry naman tayo. Do you enjoy chemistry? Do you enjoy chemistry? Kayo, do you enjoy chemistry? Do you enjoy the experimentations along with your chemistry?
Sir,
Have you tried
Yes,
doing
sir.
experimentations before? Like, nagmi-mix-mix ng ganitong chemical, tapos anong mangyayari? Minsan sumasabog, nagpapakulo-kulo kayo ng mga ganito. Have you tried that one before?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Alright, so for others, no, I've tried that one before, pero kasi ngayon, wala tayong chance of your face-to-face. Kaya, wala, hindi tayo makakapagawa. So, all we have to do is just to imagine or maybe even just watch it on YouTube or wherever na pwede nating panonoodin yon. But let's get to talk about your chemistry. So, ito sa last con ko to, so hindi to sa March 12, sa May tayo matatapos. Alright, so, lesson number 10. Pag-usapan natin sa solid, liquid, and gas. Di ba, sa elementary, meron na kayong lesson ng solid, liquid, and gas? May I ask if meron na ba kayong mga lesson ng solid, liquid, and gas sa elementary?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Meron,
Yes, sir.
'di ba? Meron. Sa grade 7 nyo, meron din, 'di ba? Meron din kayong
Yes.
lesson about solid,
Yes,
liquid, and gas.
sir.
So I will not be explaining much about this one anymore, no? In your grade 8, all we have to study is your solid, liquid, and gas in terms of their particle arrangements. Alright? So you know about particles. Alam nyo ba ano yung particle? Or what does particle mean? Do you know what is particles? Give me an example of a particle that you know. Mga particles sa mga bagay-bagay na nakikita nyo. Do you consider dust as particle? Yung mga alikabok? Are dust particles? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
no?
sir.
Particles
Yes,
sila.
sir.
So, think of your dust right now as particles. Alright? So, just imagine, put that one in your mind and imagine that particles are parang mga alikabok. Pero for solid, liquid, and gases, meron po silang arrangement. So, paano po na-arrange ang particles sa solid, paano na-arrange sa gas, and paano na-arrange sa liquid? Alright? So, let's try to get to know more about this one. The theory behind this one is what you call your kinetic particle theory. Kinetic, because we already have studied this one in your physics. Alam nyo yung kinetic energy dati? Diba? Maalala nyo ba? Kinetic particle theory.
Yes, sir.
So, it's an energy about what? Anybody? When you talk about kinetic, ano yung nangyayari dyan? Kinetic, gumagalaw, hindi.
Sir, gumagalaw.
Alright, very good. So, gumagalaw. So, nasabi nga dito sa second bullet na to, can be in motion kinetic. Itong mga particles na ito, gumagalaw. Hindi pwedeng hindi sila gumalaw kasi talagang magalaw ito. No, pati tao nga, magalaw eh. Alright, so particles gumagalaw. But you get to see a picture here of how the particles are being arranged in solid, liquid, and gas. Alright? So, meron na kayong idea, ay, ganito pala ang particle arrangement ng solid, liquid, and gas. In terms of the distance, paano nyo madidescribe si solid? No? Paano nyo madidescribe si solid in terms sa distance ng particle and other particles? How do you describe the particles of a solid? Sa pinagkikita nyo dito ngayon. Oh. How do you describe the particles? Are they close? Are they very close? Or are they far? Or are they separated? Paano nyo masasabi? Or paano nyo madidescribe?
They're sticking together.
Alright, they are sticking together. Parang magkakaibigan, no? Stick together. Ganun sila ka-close, no? Magkakalapit-lapit. Makita nyo kat nagbabanggaan talaga sila. However, for liquid, medyo close lang, no? Meron konting distansya. Pero pag kay gas, talagang malalayo sila sa each other, no? Magkakalayo-layo sila sa gas. So, yun yung isang bagay lang na actually sa lesson na ito. Ito na yung arrangement ng particles nyo. Si solid magkakalapit, si liquid medyo malapit, si gas malayo. Yun lang yun. Nakuha nyo ba? Ganun lang siya kasimple.
Yes, sir.
Alright. So, ganun lang siya actually. Pero kasi, because of their particle arrangement, this is what makes them have their own unique properties. Dahil magkakalapit-lapit si solid lang ang merong ganito. Pag magkakalapit-lapit si liquid medyo malayo-layo sila, so merong mga properties din si liquid na sa kanya lang. Meron din kay gas na sa kanya lang. So dahil dyan sa mga particles na yan. Alright, so ito na yun, no, dito sa picture out ng table na ito. I think I have this one in your module or not. Let's get to see more. Alright, so simply, this theory tells us about why such one has its unique properties. Alright, so solid, liquid, and gas dahil kay kinetic particle theory. Alright, so ito, meron akong tanong kasi nagtatanong si Chris Aquino. While the three most common state of matter is obvious, it has been known today that there are 5 states of matter. Alam nyo ba na 5 na, hindi nala 3? Kasi alam natin yung 3, solid, liquid, and gas. Pero ngayon daw, 5 na daw sila. Alam nyo ba yung additional na 2? Anybody who has an idea of what are the names of the 2 additional states of matter? Update natin sarili natin. Anybody?
Sir, plasma.
Alright, 1 is plasma. Yes, very good, no? 1 is plasma. What's the last one? Ano yung isa pa? Meron pa tayong isa. Ano sabi mo, Miss Lianyo? Medyo kwan kasi yung boses mo eh. Medyo natabunan. What was that?
BEC.
Alright, BEC. Tama din yung BEC, but what does that BEC mean? Kasi may meaning si B, si E, at saka si C.
Bose-Einstein Condensate.
Alright, we have your Bose-Einstein Condensate. Nandyan ba sa kanyo? Sa module nyo? I'm not opening kasi the module. Pero nandyan ba? Have I included that one in your module? Yung plasma at the Bose-Einstein Condensate? Wala ano?
None, sir.
Alright, so wala. So, discuss natin konti. No? Si plasma ay para siyang gas. 'Di ba? Alam na natin solid, liquid, and gas. Si plasma para din siyang gas, alright? Mas makalapit sila sa properties ni gas. Pero si plasma lang, gas na may kuryente. May imagine nyo? Si gas kasi, kung si gas lang, walang kuryente. Nakukuryente ba kayo sa hangin?
Sir, no.
Hindi.
No.
Pero sa plasma, gas siya na merong kuryente. A very good example of this one is your lightning. Siyempre, obvious, makukuryente kayo dyan. Alam niyo yung welding? Yung pampadugtong ng mga landok?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Alright. Plasma din yun. Alam niyo ba yung apoy? Flame. Sunog. Fire. Alam nyo ba yun? Nakakita na ba kayo? Imposible hindi ka nakakita ng apoy. Alam nyo ba yun? Do you know that one?
Sir.
That is also considered as your plasma. Nakakita ba kayo ng plasma ball? Yung parang andito? Have you
Yes,
ever
sir.
seen this one in the real life? That whenever you
Yes,
touch
sir.
this, you put your hand there on that ball, that the electricity or the plasma follows your hand. Na-try nyo to? Hindi pa siguro kasi medyo wala tayong mga science centrum facilities kasi dito sa city natin or even in Baguio. So, na-experience ko to nung bata pa ako, para siyang mahigagang bolang kristal. Alam niyo yung bolang kristal ni Madam Auring? Itong parang plasma ball, na pag nilagay niya yung kamay niya doon, sumusunod nga yung kuryente sa loob ng sa kamay niya. Kung ginagalaw niya yung kamay niya, sumusunod din yung kuryente. But what's very amazing, no, with your plasma, if you'd like to be able to appreciate this one and go to the North Pole or to Greenland, to Iceland, or even in Alaska, meron talagang magandang epekto din yung plasma na nakikita nyo sa mga pictures. Have you seen that love story about Paulo Contis and Alessandra De Rossi? Nasa kwan yun nasa Netflix yun Nakita nyo ba yung Night and Day na movie? Sinong nakapanood nun? Pero alam nyo ba yung tinatawag nating Aurora? Alam niyo yung Aurora?
Yes, sir.
Alright, meron ba akong picture ng Aurora dito? Let me show to you a picture of Aurora. This one. Have you seen this one already? Baka meron sa inyo nakapag-abroad. Nakakita na ba kayo ng ganito?
In my dreams po, sir.
In your dreams, Pero would you like to be able to see this one someday?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, anong gagawin? Mag-aral ng mabuti, maghanap ng magandang trabahong malaki ang sahod, at pumunta sa mga lugar na merong ganito. Oo, tama naman, di ba?
Yes, sir.
So, if you'd like to travel and go and travel yun, ayun, gano'n, no? So, wag muna yung mga jowa-jowa na yan, ng mga high school pa kayo, ang dami nyo ng jowa, sana all. So, unahin nyo muna yung pag-aaral nyo. Matapos yung pag-aaral nyo, mag-ipon kayo, tapos pumunta kayong manood ng ganong Aurora Borealis. Kesa naman na ginagastos nyo sa panglibre ng milk tea, sa mga jowa nyo, o sa mga pangbili ng mga pancake, o ano bang kinakain yung pang-date nyo dyan. So, aral kayo ng mabuti, So, this is an example of your plasma, which is your Aurora Borealis. This is actually plasma, no? Hangin na may kuryente. Dahil sa interaction nito ng gas na yan at saka si sun during that night, lumalabas yung mga iba-ibang kulay sa northern part ng Earth. Meaning, lumalabas lang ito pag malapit ka sa North Pole. Tayo sa Pilipinas, wala tayo sa North Pole. Nasa malapit tayo sa equator. Kaya wala tayong makikitang Northern Lights or tawag nating Aurora Borealis. Hindi tayo makakakita nito. So, saan pumunta? Punta ng Alaska. Pupunta sa North Pole. Pupunta ka sa Greenland or Iceland. Doon, makikita mo ito. Alright? So, yun. Mahal ang pupunta doon. Kaya, mag-aral, maghanap ng trabaho, mag-ipon, at pumunta doon. Alright? So, ito yung fourth state of matter natin, yung plasma. Last naman, we have what you call your Bose-Einstein Condensate. Si plasma kasi, nagawa siya dahil sa very mainit na lugar. Very, very hot condition. Pero, si Bose-Einstein Condensate, nagawa naman siya in a very, very cold condition. Just imagine, this is actually negative 273 degrees Celsius. Malamig ito masyado. Nagto-12 nga lang dito sa atin, no? 12 degrees Celsius yung atmospheric temperature natin. Nanginginig na tayo. Ano pa kaya yung negative 273? So, it's really very cold. But, itong Bose-Einstein Condensate was discovered by an Indian scientist by the name of Bose. Apelido na kasi Bose. Siya ang nakapag-discover na itong fifth state of matter. Pero dati pa, meron nang nag-study nito, si Albert Einstein. Na-study niya ito ng konti pero hindi niya ito na-discover. By that time, it was an Indian scientist by the family name of Bose was the person who was able to discover this one. Kaya ang ginawa niya, nung na-discover niya ito, nilagay niya yung pangalan niya at nilagay niya rin yung pangalan ni Einstein. Kaya tinawag nitong Bose-Einstein Condensate. Ito yung storya nung fifth state of matter na ito. However, this state of matter, hindi mo ito makikita anywhere. Ginagawa ito sa laboratory para magpakita ito. Pag hindi mo ginawa, hindi mo rin ito makikita. Kaya, commonly, ang alam lang natin, solid, liquid, and gas. And meron yung plasma. But the fifth state, which is your BEC or your Bose-Einstein Condensate, ginagawa ito sa laboratory. Alright? Questions?
Sir, wala.
Alright. So, none so far. So, yun lang. Yung fifth state of matter. Alam nyo na yung particle arrangement nila. Si solid, magkakalapit-lapit. Si water, si liquid, medyo magkalapit. Si gas, medyo magkalayo. Si plasma, parehas kay gas, pero meron siyang kasamang mga ions or mga kuryente. May positive and negative na mga kuryente dyan. Alright? So, ito yung differences ng mga particles natin sa different states of matter. Alright? What time is it? It's 10:47. So, medyo binilisan ko para hindi tayo kuhan kasi I am not able to, hindi ako makakapag-klase sa Thursday kasi it's a special day, no, sa Thursday. Kasi I'll be turning 23 on Thursday. So, yun.
Happy birthday, sir.
Happy birthday, sir.
Kaya hindi muna tayo magklase sa Thursday. Kasi
Happy birthday.
Sir, advance happy birthday.
basta walang magpapalibre ha. Ayan. So, yan. Kaya hindi muna ako magkaklase. So, baka sa next Tuesday na lang tayo. So, medyo bibilisan ko ngayon. If you don't understand anything, you can PM me or you can watch the replay of this video. Lesson 11 tayo. Physical changes and motion part of particles. Sabi ko nga, alam na natin yung arrangement ng particles. Pero sabi kasi ni kinetic particle theory, kinetic, pwede silang gumalaw. So, paano ang galaw ni solid? Paano ang galaw ni liquid? Paano ang galaw ni gas? Alam niyo ba yung physical change? Alam niyo yung physical change? Alright, sige. Bigay ako ng example ng physical change. You have a clay. Meron kayong clay. Alam niyo yung clay? Yung pinaglalaroan
Yes,
niyo?
sir.
Alright. Yung clay na square. Alright? Clay na square. Tapos, ang ginawa nyo, binago nyo yung shape, naging circle. Is it a physical change or a chemical change?
Physical.
Physical, sir.
Alright, it's a physical change kasi wala na magbago. Nagbago lang yung shape pero clay pa rin yun, di ba? Yung clay na circle dati at saka yung clay na square ngayon, clay pa rin yun, di ba? Tama?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Ito naman, example. Meron kang isang pencil. Pinutol, mahaba yung pencil, pinutol mo ng sa gitna at naging dalawang pencil, no? Is it a physical change or a chemical change?
Physical.
Alright, physical pa rin. Kasi nga, pencil pa rin yun. Alright, another example. Meron kang papel. Papel, ano? Papel na, yung flat na plain sheet, no, na paper. Pero, kinuha mo yung papel at crumple mo. Alam mo yung crumple, no? Yung parang crumple mo, ginawa mo siyang parang ball of paper, crumpled paper. Is it a physical or a chemical change?
Physical.
Kasi physical. Kasi papel pa rin yun, no? Yung flat na paper na yun na kinuha mo na bagong-bagong papel tapos crumple mo, nagbago lang yung shape nila or yung form nila, pero papel pa rin yun. Alright, another example. Isang papel, sinunog mo at naging abo or ash. Is it a physical or a chemical change?
Sir, chemical.
Alright, ito, yan, no? That is now an example of your chemical change. Kasi dati papel yun. Ngayon naging abo. Is it still paper ba yung abo? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Not anymore. Hindi
No,
na papel
sir.
yun. Abo na yun.
Sir,
No? Abo na yun. So, yun. Let's say for example, meron kayong karne na hilaw. Niluto nyo, binarbecue nyo. Is it physical or chemical change?
Chemical.
Chemical change. Kasi marami nang nangyari doon, no? Sinunog mo, naging uling, naksot yung iba. Yung iba, medyo mga ganon. Alright, so, yan yung difference ng physical and chemical change. But let's get to talk more about your phase change. When you talk about your phase change, they are actually absorbing or releasing energy. Pwedeng dalawa. Pwede kang mag-absorb ng heat, pwede kang mag-release ng heat. Pag nag-absorb ka ng heat, meaning umiinit ka, tama? Pag kumuha ka nag-absorb ka ng init, meaning ng heat energy, meaning umiinit ka. Or if nag-release ka ng energy, meaning lumalamig ka. So yung mga bagay natin, matter can change from one phase to another, no? By either absorbing or releasing energy. So punta tayo dito sa phase change. Alam niyo yung arrangement ni solid? 'Di ba magkakalapit sila? Tama? Pwede ba
Yes,
nating
sir.
paghiwalayin yun? Pwede ba nating paghiwalayin yung mga particles ni solid na dating magkakalapit-lapit, palalayuin natin? Pwede ba or hindi? Pwede ba or hindi? Can we separate or put distance of the particles of solid? Dating magkakalapit-lapit, papalayuin natin yung mga articles nila. Pwede ba or hindi?
No.
Sir, mas nadadagdagan?
Not exactly na nadadagdagan, pero ang nangyayari doon, pwede tayong mag-add ng energy para mas magkakalayo-layo sila. So, for example, merong magkakalapit na dalawang particle. Let's add heat energy to that, and what happens to that particle? It goes away from each other. Nagkakahiwalay-hiwalay sila. If you continue to add more and more and more energy, mas magkakalayo, layo yung mga particles na yon. Alright? Pwede din ba, let's say for example, alam niyo yung particle arrangement ni gas, di ba magkakalayo sila si gas? Yes or no? Magkakalayo kina gas?
Yes, sir.
Di ba magkakalayo sila gas? Pwede ba natin silang paglapit-lapitin? Pwede ba or hindi? Is it possible? Then again, pwede siya. Kasi sinabi dito, pwede. So, alam nyo ba ito? Yung physical changes natin. Alright. These are now what you call the summary of your physical change. Alright? Para hindi na tayo mas humaba pa. Pag si solid naging liquid, anong tawag natin sa process niyan? Meron kayong ice cream, solid si ice cream. Tapos iniwan nyo dyan sa labas, anong mangyayari kay ice cream? Is it still solid or liquid na?
Sir, freezing?
Or solid to liquid. Isang solid na ice cream na matigas pa, iniwan nyo dyan sa labas ng sun, and it becomes liquid. What do you call that process?
Melting?
Alright, very good. Melting. Di ba? Nagme-melt. Ice cream nyo, pag iniwan nyo sa labas, nagme-melt yan, nagiging liquid. So, tawag natin dyan, melting. Ano naman, pag example, babalik ta rin natin, liquid na tubig. Alam niyo gumawa ng ice candy?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so, di ba liquid yun dati na nilalagay natin sa plastic? Tapos, yung liquid na yan magiging solid. Anong tawag natin sa process na yan?
Freezing.
Alright, freezing. Di ba? Kasi nilalagay natin nga sa freezer. Freezing. Alright, so, madali lang, di ba? Madali lang siya. Madali mo lang malalaman. Alright. Punta naman tayo kay liquid. Pag si liquid naging gas, let's say for example from liquid water to water vapor, kasi ang version ng gas version ni water is water vapor. From liquid to gas, anong tawag natin dyan?
Vaporization.
Alright, kasi minsan merong nagsasabi yung ibang books vaporization. Though other books will tell you that it's evaporation. Alam niyo yung evaporate? Alam niyo yung word na evaporate?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Diba sa umuulan kasi minsan, diba nag-evaporate yung tubig at nagiging clouds tapos uulan, ganon. So tawag natin doon, evaporation. Alright? Paano naman for example if isang gas naging liquid? Diba gas yung clouds natin. Tapos yung clouds natin, mamaya, pag hindi niya na kaya yung handlein yung gas, nagiging liquid na siya, kaya umuulan. Ano tawag natin doon? Pag gas naging liquid.
Condensation.
Alright, condensation ang tawag natin dyan. Alright, so, meron din tayong tinatawag na from gas to plasma, which is ionization, and plasma to gas, meron tayong deionization. Pero meron akong, alright, meron ding mga added mga kwan dito, no? Pero meron akong additional na mga processes na hindi common sa atin. Alam na natin to, from solid to liquid, melting. From liquid to gas, vaporization. When gas becomes liquid, you call that one your condensation, or your liquid to solid, it becomes your freezing. Alright, ito ang tanong ko. We have also a process called solid na nagiging gas agad. Hindi po siya dumadaan sa liquid. Posible ba ito? Pwede ba ito?
Sir, maybe.
Isang solid naging gas agad.
Sir, agbaling
Yes, sir.
Alright. Siyempre, agbalin, tayo surat na dito, di ba? Anya tawag tayo dito. Jay, naging solid, from solid naging gas.
Sublimation.
Alright, sublimation, no? Tawag tayo dito sublimation. Natata, agdawa takman, ti example yu, ti may nga banag nga from solid naging gas nga dagos. Oh.
Sir, dry ice.
Alright, very good. One example is dry ice. Have you ever tried holding the ice beside the inside of your freezer? Napadas yu ba? Jay freezer yu kat dita ref yu kat jay apan kay jay freezer. Try yu nga igaman nga jay igid-igid ti freezer yu kat di ba ada ti ice na? Napansin nyo ba?
Sir.
Diba?
Sir.
Try yung nga igaman, apansin nyo, apay dahil ito'y kaslahan nga nabasa nga ice. Medyo dry suna. Alright. Diay ti may nga example ti dry ice. Nagapo ti solid, no? Gapo si solid naging gas nga dagos. Dayta nga solid nga dayta nga ice dita unag ti freezer yu, bigla nga dayta nga maging gas lang ije unag iso nga nalamin launay ti unag ti freezer. Ngam hantay nga masyado nga appreciate data. Dapat iti sabali nga example iti sublimation, no? Give me another example of your sublimation. Dawat ak man ti sabali pa yung example. Baka dati ma-search you. Baka lang naman. Adawan. Nakita you.
Sir, dry sublimation printer.
Sublimation printer. One siguro mabalin dyan. Sabali tayo ta. Actually, that's actually how you print your that's the new style of printing in t-shirts. But one very best example of your sublimation is this picture. Nakakita kayo ba ti mga kakastoy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Pang-us-usaran tayo dagitoy. Amo yu daytoy kala nga white nga mga balls nga daytoy. Nga tawag tayo imbaga na dito kit mothballs. Nakapadas kay ti gusarte kastoy. Pang-us-usaran tayo ti kasta.
Killing rats.
J rats? Yes, tama. Ngam pagkabgabilan tayo ti kastoy.
Bado.
J bado, di ba? J unog ti
Yes,
ti ikabkabil tayo ti unog ti aparador, di ba? So nga nagmadmadingay maminsan ti angot ti bado tayo ta nag-agangot ti kastoy nga mothballs. So amo yu daytoy.
Yes, sir.
Amo yu daytoy, di ba? Di ba daytoy kat solid. Gusto? Solid daytoy, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Ngam na
Yes, sir.
ikabilyo dayta ije unog ti aparador yo. Siguro sublian nyo ti after 2 weeks, birukan nyo daytoy awanen, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Awanen suna. Ngam pansinin nyo, apay nga hanmat nga nabasa jay kwa. Hanmat nabasa jay bado yo, tama? Gusto ba? Hanmat nga nabasa jay bado yo.
Yes, sir.
So nangyari jay from solid diretso nga dagos naging gas. Tama?
Tama, sir.
So that is an example of your sublimation. Amoy di kakastoy. O boys, amoy di kakastoy, di ba? Daytoy adad toy baba. Amoy daytoy kas nga mahahang EJCR ngay. Girls, amoy di kakastoy. May nakikita ka
Yes,
sa
sir.
ganito sa CR. Itong albatros na
Yes,
ito.
sir.
Di ba? Solid ito, di ba? Pero after manu nga bulan, di ba maibus daytoy? Maibibus
Yes,
lang
sir.
ag may size. So apay maibus daytoy. Tapos mapansin nyo hanmat nga dimalan nga naging liquid. So from solid diretso nga dagos ti gas. So example ti kastoy kat dagitoy CR deodorizer, jay dry ice tayo or jay mothballs, no. We call that one your sublimation. So amo yan ti sublimation. Did you learn something new today?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so let's go back naman. Baliktaran tayo man. Gas na naging solid. Ang tawag natin yan, deposition. O, dawatak man ti example yun ti deposition. Do you know of anything that from gas naging solid agad?
Deposition.
Deposition. Deposition ang tawag natin, si gas naging solid naman agad. Di bali dayto iti ilas ko tatta. Ano malpas tayo dito yun ko ta. Rejoy maladaw jay. Later on na lang yun. Adaba, what example do you find about deposition? Give me an
Sir,
example.
ice crystal.
Alright, ice crystals or so deposition naman, no, parang ganito. Tama yung inbagam ng ice crystal. Amo yung ijay ko no, ijay US, ijay United Kingdom. Di ba agsusnow Canada? Di ba nagsusnow
Yes,
doon?
sir.
Tapos dito naman sa Atok, minsan meron tayong tinatawag na andap. Ano yung andap? Di taga Atok, taga Bugyas. Ano yung andap nga bagbang andap? Di nga ga ice, taga mulmula. Taga punga na lamin, launay. Have you
Ay,
ever...
choppy.
Sir, aglalag.
Aglalagak ba? Ala, apay. Apay ngay. Sorry.
Ni.
Tata, okay an?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay
sir.
na.
Freeze.
Alright, so, have you tried seeing andap in kwan? Especially in Atok in Bugyas, whenever it's really very cold. Yung ice ngay. Do you hear me? Choppy pa rin ba ako?
Yes, sir.
Sir, okay.
Okay, an, di ba?
Okay.
Ang nangyayari dyan, the sky, the atmosphere, is made up of gas. And because of that gas, no, because of the very low temperature, jay gas nga di ay, diretso nga maging solid. Amoy dagay jay mga parts ti United States, parts ti United Kingdom. Maminsan ngay kathaan nga snow ti matmatnag. No agtudo ijay. Napansin nyo ada nga jay matmatnag nga ice? Agtudo ti ice? Have you ever seen movies
Yes,
like
sir.
nagtutudo ti ice? We call that your hail. No? Hail ti tawag tayo ijay or what you call your hailstorm. And that is an example of how you get to see that deposition happens is because the atmosphere is made up of gas and it's very cold there. So therefore, that gas becomes solid right away. And later on, maamoy yung apay nga matmatnag agtutudo ti ice. So nga kalaka nga boys, especially boys nga agayayam ti airsoft. Kasla ka ngay napalpaltugan ti airsoft ta ice ti matmatnag ijay sky kat nasakit di ay, no? So that is what you call your hail. So that is an example of what you call your deposition. Alright, so diay ti last tayo dito yung agsapa i-announce ko lang dito performance task. So the performance task yung second quarter yung katagaramid kayo ti infographic, correct? Ngam tata, if you have your modules with you, that's page 108. Page 108. It says there you are to make a poster about the water cycle and the different phase changes it happens, di ba? Sa water cycle kasi, meron tayong condensation, meron tayong evaporation, meron tayong melting, meron tayong freezing, meron tayong deposition, meron tayong sublimation. So, this is an example of how you're going to do it. So, what you're going to do is make a drawing of the water cycle. Tapos, along with the drawing, try to identify what is that phase change that happens there. So, saang banda nangyayari si evaporation sa water cycle? Saang banda nangyayari si melting sa water cycle? Saang banda nangyayari si freezing or si condensation sa water cycle? Identify it. Afterwards, if you get to identify the different parts or the different phases, explain that phase. What happens during evaporation? What happens during condensation? What happens during freezing? What happens during melting in a water cycle? Nagets nyo ba? Naalay ba dyan idea? So, makaala kayo iti idea dita Google, no? Nga mas may mayat no makaaramid kayo ti talaga nga unique para kinyayo. So then again, mabalin yung ikabil dahil ti long size bond paper. No, i-drawing nyo lang ti water cycle, tapos dahil mga phase changes, tapos explanation ti mga phase changes. So I'd like to emphasize that please don't just put there evaporation, precipitation, condensation, haan lang nga kasjay. No? Kabila nyo mati sa explanation niya. Makita yo kat adagayam dito ti sublimation. Adati evaporation dito eh. Adati precipitation inya ba dito eh. So those are different stuff that you get to learn more because this is really very obvious in a water cycle? Questions?
Sir, none.
No?
None,
Awan?
sir.
So, dahito lang ti aramidon nyo actually for this week because by next week, we will be having worksheets to work on using your periodic table. Awan di ay, ejay, awan di ay ejay module yo. Iso nga, it's good if you get to join because we'll be using your periodic table by next week. So, for your this week, dahito lang ti aramidon nyo. Dahito nga performance task. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so dahito lang.
Yes.
No, awan ng tidamag yo or ada ba tidamag yo pay nga han nga klaro iti instructions ko ket tidamag yung tatan. Are there questions or maybe clarifications you'd like to ask before I get
Sir,
to
maikargaan na.
pangikargaan na jay?
J project.
Uray long size band paper. Alright, i-drawing nyo lang ijay. Alright. Tapos na kayo no, kayat yung online picturean nyo no kayat yung ipasa ijay school, jay band paper ipasa yun lang. Alright, so kas jay. Kitak man no ada tinagchat. Okay. So no awanan ti damag kat PM kayo na lang no hinhan yung nga maawatan. This is recorded so you can rewatch this one again. So thank you very much for joining this morning. We'll see each other again on Tuesday next week na lang kasi hindi ako makakapagklase sa Thursday. Right? Thank you very much for joining and have a good morning. So eat your lunch now.
Happy advance birthday.
Thank you.
Advance birthday, sir.
Okay.